2. Um, Thank you, Sherry, for taking minutes this evening. And I'm going to turn, we have a few things on the agenda, so I'm going to turn it right over to Mike so we can get started.
Thank you, Louise. I appreciate it. I think they've, Ken, if you want to just pull up the agenda really quick, just take a look at the items because I think we added some stuff on to cover a few different topics today in addition to the financials. But we could start here with the financials. Um, excuse me. Angela, you want to take the financials?
Sure.
Great.
So we're presenting the financials for the month ending March 26. Our general fund expenditures for the month of March totaled 15.1 million. This is compared to 14.0 million for the same period in the prior year. This year we had one-time spend down, which was about 4.5 million. March expenses for payroll include 2 full pay periods. General fund expenditures for the fiscal year-to-date total 108.1 million, with an additional 60.3 million encumbered. The annual budget for the general fund is 172 million, which leaves a fund balance of 3.5 million, and this equates to 2.06 of the budget. As the year progresses, we do anticipate additional items coming through that have not been encumbered, and we will encumber them, and it drives the balance down to a break-even point. There are additional expenses such as, I think it's graduation expenses that the district incurs, and those are not encumbered, and therefore will also drive the balance down. Our benefits have a favorable balance. We received, the actual number is $1,586,791.86 credit for the Cigna, from Cigna for the annual pharmacy rebate. We outsource several professional services, and these would include the Nurses Network, Stepping Stone, Kelly Services, Speech Pathology Group. So these type of expenses are partially offset by the para and SPED unfilled positions and benefits. In this line, we also have received 3 invoices from our RSM auditors for the year 2022, 2023, and 2024 audit, and they totaled 435,000. We have other expenses. No, that'll be later. We continue to work on entering the remainder of the year encumbrances, but I think at some point, Mike, you're going to be sending a letter out telling everybody to stop encumbering, and whatever we have in the queue in the system, we're going to review it and see what we're still going to put through. Correct?
Right, yeah. So we are, again, we present our financial statements, as many companies do, a month behind. So right now, although we're in the, well, I'll say the end of April, we're actually presenting the prior month. So today, the look at the financials today is a little bit different than what we're seeing. This is a more of a historical view. The 2% that Angela pointed out, these financials show us at a 2.6% of budget, meaning there's 2.06% of the budget remaining. That's kind of the target, right? And that's where the legislation surrounds, we call it the 2% account. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But once we hit that 2% account, which is just under just about $2 million, the sites are still going to enter their supplies. It just goes under a higher level of scrutiny before it gets purchased, before we actually push those through. And Angela, that's what you're talking about. I'll be sending a letter out to all of our administrators that may have some one-time expenses. Typically, our educators will wait until the end of the year to try to pre-purchase supplies for the following year. Um, so I'm going to send that email out shortly and just let them know, just get your final orders in. But as of right now, we're just keeping a very close eye on a daily basis of what that balance is. But all looks very healthy right now.
We also purchased some instructional improvements for the schools, which is also one-time expenses. And they include like furniture and supplies, whiteboards, laser projectors. Okay. Okay. So here we're in the summary, we're showing that salary and benefits are favorable. For salaries, we had budgeted in the general fund for the ARPA staff, but the true charges are going into the grant. So that's one of the reasons why we are favorable. We made some adjustments to benefits to be more in line with the actual expenses. Again, our professional services, where we have those specific items that we are outsourcing because sometimes we can't get staff here to fulfill the positions. Our other purchase services include pupil transportation. It also includes tuition. We have our main bus contract for transportation has been encumbered, but again, the per diem items are not. So as those come in to be paid, we encumber them at that time in order to pay them with a purchase order. And we do have some vendors, we have timing issues getting invoices. As an example, we can go online for electric and gas, and we can pull up our own invoices. We do not have to wait for them to come here to sites and facilities or directly into the main campus central office. So as our new accounts payable person gets up to speed, maybe he'll be able to go online and print the invoices before we even get them for us to start getting them into the system. Our other supplies, we have another supply line, which because of the new building, DHS West, the school lunch program does not pay for certain items for the new building. So the general fund has picked up those items, and these were non-budgeted items. And we have dues and fees, staff development, which includes the instructional improvements, which I mentioned before, which are one-time expenses for the schools that we have purchased. So under salaries, we have open unfilled positions. We also have the ARPA salaries that I mentioned that are budgeted here in the general fund, but the expenses are in the grant. So these are reasons why we are favorable this year in these two categories, in this category of all the salaries. Once added together, it was 7 million in total. Yes, 7.1. And then we have benefits. Mike has been very aggressively going through the benefits to make sure that we're not as over as we have been in the past. We are recording the monthly charges of the invoices, funds that come out. So we're doing that on a monthly basis. If we go down to professional services, we have a technology service line, which is 5.0. This is where the one-time 4.5 million sits of technology items that have been purchased for the one-time expenditures this year. Okay. If we go to the next page, our property services. We're checking into the rental for its service, and we race to get those bills out and get those checks recorded in this line. We, okay, other purchase services, the tuition and transportation. We have a lot of different tuition line items, and we know we're over in transportation, but next year we were trying to create the budget so it comes in a little closer, that we're not as over. And we have tuition sped that is over. No, wait a minute. Hold on. Yes. Private. That's 1.4 million, those together, yeah. So these places that we are sending the students to, tuition has increased services for them. It's getting a little out of whack. So hopefully in the next couple of years that will be, well, the state can streamline it and say this is the minimum you can charge and you shouldn't go over. But with all the different types of children and services they need, we have to sometimes outsource it somewhere else. Then we have supplies. In the supply line, supplies also includes utilities. So we have our electric that is over, and that's really due to DHS West. Delivery charges for 12 months. And then we have renegotiated propane and fuel. We're sharing the vendor with the city, and they were able to renegotiate a little bit less than what we are spending now. And hopefully, you know, we can get it to go down all the time, but we're keeping a watchful eye on that and gasoline. The enrollment impact and equipment. We have budgeted for magnet school in here, and Mike has eliminated it from the 27 budget because we have some grants that cover magnet school expenses. So we've taken it out of here, out of the general fund for next year. And the dues, fees, and staff development, this is where the instructional improvements lie. And these are also, again, the one-time expenditures that we've purchased for next school year. So if we go to the next set of report, these are just comparing 1 month activity to another, so you're able to see how much we're spending each month in July and August, because not everybody is working, and we're getting the invoices in slowly. For the new fiscal year, you will not see a lot of spending, but as we go along, we have months where I think it was November, the total. Can we go to the next page, please? All the way down to the bottom. Oh no, I'm sorry, October. October, we had 3 pay periods. Most of the pay periods we have are 2, but there's October, and I believe I know
we
May
take
is another
May,
month.
there-
We have three. Yes. So in March, we were actually doing some catch up on some invoices as they were coming in, trying to make sure that by the end of the year, we have as many paid as possible. So we can also, as we move along, close the purchase orders so they're not outstanding and we don't have big encumbrances toward the end of the year. And then the last page is the grants.
Do we have any questions so far? Moving through this.
Louisa, I don't know if there's a an attachment in this agenda of those one-time items I shared with you. I have them ready to be pulled up when we get there, but I'm not sure if it's in here, just to
Okay.
discuss what those one-time items are that we've been speaking about for the last couple months.
Yep. And before we get that, can you just explain a little bit, especially for some of us that don't know about the credit from Cigna for the pharma and how that works and why we
Yeah.
get that?
Yeah, sure. So our Cigna contract, when our employees go to the pharmacy to get prescriptions, they are paying full price for um, for the drug, and then we get a credit based upon that, since we're the ones paying the actual claims. In previous years, I think it was 2 years ago, the number was much smaller. It was maybe 800,000. Our third-party administrator, Gallagher, renegotiated us to get 100% of that pharmacy rebate. So last year we saw it shot up from 8 million up to over a million. And again this year, and then next year they're projecting it to be about 2.8. Um, that's something that we think eventually they're going to try to get away from. So insurance companies, instead of giving us the rebate, are going to the employees will realize the rebate at the cash register. We're still about 2 or 3 years, I think, away from that, because the infrastructure that's needed with the insurance company and all the pharmacies isn't in place yet. But we do anticipate that going away, and I will be happy when it goes away, because it's something that's put into the budget as an estimate. We rely on the third party actuaries to give us that estimate. But this year, it was on a weekly basis. I was emailing Gallagher, what's the number? What's the number? When's it coming? Because we don't have the exact number and we don't have the exact day. And my fear was that we would get a majority of it at the end of the year when it was too late to spend, causing a surplus. So this, from my understanding from Gallagher, this second payment, which totaled the 1.5, there was about 1.1 in December, and then about 400,000 this last month. Should be it for this year.
Great. Any other questions on any of this so far from committee members, non-committee members?
Mike,
Yeah, Sean.
yeah, quick, after what you just said to Louise, when Angela said you're gonna be aggressive with the benefits reporting, is that what she was talking about, or what does that exactly mean?
Yeah, so the way that Cigna works for us is we get hit with two different types of expense from them. On a monthly basis, they send us an invoice, and that's to cover the administrative fees, the stop loss. And as I say, we pay Cigna for the privilege of being Cigna and adjudicating our claims for us. That comes on a monthly basis. It's the administrative fee is somewhat based on head count. So while I know approximately what it is, I don't know the exact amount. So what I do is, on a separate spreadsheet, every time we pay that invoice, I'll enter that amount and I kind of annualize it out as we go to project out for the rest of the year. The second portion is the actual claims that are entered in. Since we're self-funded, we pay 100% of the claim. And what Cigna does is, through a third-party bank, it's Citibank, they go in and they debit our accounts on a weekly basis for whatever the amount was for the actual expense. And like I said, it's on a weekly basis. So I go in on a weekly basis to the bank and I take that amount and put that into the spreadsheet. And in a similar manner, I'll take all of the amounts that we've paid so far and annualize them out. And then when I put those two numbers together, I kind of get what I think is going to be the projection based upon actuals for this year. And then when I have that call once a month with the third party from Gallagher, they give me their number of what they think it's going to be. And this year, every month we've been very close. So I'm very comfortable that the number that they think we're going to end up with is the number that I agree with. And I do that year over year so I could see seasonality. You'll see the actual claims jump around from month to month. So as the new plan begins in September, you'll see that the claims are a little bit lower because the deductibles haven't been met. And then once folks start meeting their deductibles, they're more likely to go to the physician to seek treatment. So you'll see our weekly expenses jump up. So I'm able to track not only for this calendar year, but year over year and look at seasonality. And then based upon that information, if that wasn't quite enough, our system, when we run payroll, puts a number into our benefits line in our financials, and it's something of a placeholder. It's what the best guess is of what the insurance is going to be, but it doesn't reflect the actual number that they're debiting from our account and charging us through AP. So I'll take that number and then Angela will go into the spreadsheet, back out the placeholder on a monthly basis and put in the actuals. And that's important because in previous years before I started, they waited until either the end of the year, if they did it at all. And if you're dealing with a placeholder for 11 months and your actuals are different than the placeholder you have, you're not going to find out until July when you go to close the books. So to alleviate that, I update the spreadsheet every week and Angela does a journal entry every month. And then we verify what we're doing, kind of a sanity check with Gallagher, that third party. Does that make sense?
Thank you, because I wanted to know if that was different than your predecessors, and I think the council's going to be very happy. So thank you.
Yes. Yep.
Any other questions? I know I asked this before, but going self-funded, that is the best way forward for us as far as benefits, cost-wise?
That's what the third party has suggested. The other options are to one, which I've asked them to do, is put us to market. So Cigna, like I said, they adjudicate our claims. Our claims are what they are. But there may be some savings if another company other than Cigna were to be the one adjudicating the claims. So if they take our actual claims data, they can send us out to market and have any other insurance companies bid, and then we can take a look at what the other bids are. The other option is the state plan, which I don't know too many districts that are on, but it does exist. And what I would ask is that when that third party that we're paying to do this bidding for us, so to speak, to include in that analysis what it would look like in the event that we did decide to go with the state plan and kind of do an apples to apples comparison so that we could review it in finance committee and kind of draw some conclusions from that.
When was the last time we went out to bid for the insurance?
Not since I've been here.
Yeah. Okay.
Been a while.
We're due. I want to say when I asked them about it the month before last about going to bid, I want to say they said it's just over 5 years, so it's time.
Yeah. Okay. So is that something we're looking at doing sometime?
Yeah, I told them that's come the next renewal period. I want an analysis done to look at one, put us out to market to see if anyone can beat Cigna for those administrative claims. Again, we are self-funded. We pay for what we use, so that number is not going to change. But the administrative fee and the stop loss fee that might be an option for us.
Louisa, just in the superintendent circles, it's a torturous conversation every year because if you're cruising along and you're self-funded and you're having a good claims year,
Yeah.
that's great. And then the problems come in when you have a really high cost claim year, and
Yep.
then you start considering other options, you convert to those options, and then before you know it, you're completely
Yep.
beholden to whatever rate increase that they decide, and there's no it's not based on your usage per se or your profile. It's based on whatever the market is bearing and the cost. So it's
No,
tough.
insurance is, yeah, that's a weird, insurance is a tough game.
Yeah. The tricky part for us too is any self-managed plan is a lot more work on our end to to keep up with the ebbs and flows of that, and you hope that you've got a good projection, and then we've had some volatility, so that has played into things, but it hasn't been horrible compared to what I'm hearing my superintendent colleagues have talked about in terms of some of their experiences with other companies and their renewal rates that were through the roof. So, this year, we did reduce the headcount so that offset, considerable rate increases. So, next year it's definitely, I'm definitely concerned once we stabilize, like what that percentage is going to look like. People have been bouncing in and out of the state plan as well. That also fluctuates pretty greatly too. So it's a tough nugget.
Thank you. Okay, I don't think we have any other questions, so if you want to move on.
Okay. Ken, can you pull up the agenda for this evening so I can see what the second item is? I don't have it open in front of me.
Did we want to talk about the one-time expenditures, or did we want to just,
I think that's one of the items on the
I
list. I'm trying to pull it up now.
wasn't sure if we added that as part of the financial report or if just as a separate item.
Oh. Okay, I'll just share my screen then and show you what we have here. Can everyone see that? I know it's kind of small. So in the financial package for the last couple months, we've been talking about one-time spending, and I wanted to put some context behind what that spending is. One of the things that we tried to do is take into account things that might be needed for next year, since next year is going to be so sparse. And we did have a small surplus this year going into the mid-year, to start using that as a way of kind of keeping the next year's ask responsible, trying to keep it at that amount that we did. There were, I want to say, three main areas that we attacked. One was the IT infrastructure. That IT team is overseen by Gina Jasmine, and she kind of took all of her purchases and put them in a list for us with the amount and kind of an explanation. Some of it, the explanation is a little bit techy. I'm not sure I understand all of it. But this is the first group, and I tried to organize them so that the bigger items are up top. But needless to say, a lot of these IT items that we were spending on had to do with rewiring and access points and increasing the network, the availability and speed of the network. So I can publish this. I should have probably had this published with the financial package, but you'll see that here there's a list of several items totaling 4.5 million, almost 4.6 million. And in the financials, the question will be, well, I see that we're over 6 million. What's the difference? So I just put a footnote down here on row 20. And there are other expenditures in that 53,000 series of accounts, but they're relating to Kelly Services, the Stepping Stones Group, and Nurses Network. Just really briefly, nursing network. We have a set of nurses for our various locations, and it's kind of hard to fill some of those positions. So we use an outside agency to help backfill so that there is nursing services available. The Stepping Stones group is for special education. So again, those paraprofessionals in the special education area that can't be filled, we're having a hard time filling them or backfilling positions, we reach out to a third party. That's a Stepping Stones group. And then Kelly Services, you'll hear us talk about it. So Kelly Services is our a third party company that we use to for substitutes. So if there are call outs in the morning for either teachers or paraeducators, Kelly Services will jump in there. And those three combined, that overage is about $2 million. So when you add that 2 million back to the 4.6 we see here, that's the number in the financial statements that you'll see, the $6 million number. And then I will talk about the other two, but I didn't know if we wanted to stop here, if anyone had any questions on this portion.
Yeah. Any questions on any of these items?
I'll just say that well, actually, go ahead. The members could speak. I jumped in too quickly, but just in general, the elementary network was so dilapidated and inefficient and slow. And get the fact that we had moved into a one-to-one computing across the district for the most part, and with the number of things that we have running on our networks post-COVID, things just they were not able to keep up. So having the upgrade and having the wiring, it really was a really welcomed update to our infrastructure. And it's not one of those fancy things that you can see. It's not one of those shiny objects that you walk into a school. But I can tell you when you have a reliable internet network system, that reduces teacher frustration, administrator frustration, student frustration when they're testing. It's a big deal. So we're very thankful for that.
The next section is the 57,000. There was about $1.5 million overage there, and these are just, I picked 4 items. These really, the person to speak to these would be Mike Seelig. He really has his thumb on the pulse here, but these are just related to certain projects that we have with Garland, BMP, who we use for most of our construction projects. The big one there, you'll see BMP
Okay.
for 250,000 is for adult education. And then the 58,000 account dues and fees and staff development. This is really more about the instructional supplies. School specialty was one of the larger ones where we got some much needed furniture, tables, chairs, some hex tables you'll see, and kidney shaped tables, which I found out what that was this year. The other big one was Lakeshore Learning. Broadview Middle School Library had a redesign proposal, and after that was Robert Lord, again, chairs and tables, cafeteria tables, and I think the last one, maybe Carrie, the William Bobrick. I think that's
the
Melissa,
Bogan
right?
system. Well, the Bogan system is a communication system. So that's our PA. Those are our PA systems, which are very sensitive. And when they don't work, it's a huge safety issue. So I do believe that was one of the upgrades to that system, because that is a big safety issue. And just a mention about the furniture, there are many teachers' desks and teacher desks in particular, who have the name of a teacher, for a few generations ago. And those desks and chairs are still in service. So we did put out to the principals that if you had any furniture needs, that this was a good opportunity to make sure you put your needs on the table, and if we can do it. And we did get some wonderful requests across the system. So anybody who needed, they had a broken chair, their table, their desk drawers were no longer closing. We definitely offered the upgrade. And so we replaced some teacher desks, a lot of student desks, broken cafeteria furniture that's been on hold for a bit. So it was quite a welcome, response. Additionally, also in here as well, we did, offer some more transportation for some of our students to do the after school program so they can receive tutoring. So we were able to use it very effectively, very wisely.
Any questions on any of these? Committee members, board members? No?
Can can I ask about the PA system?
Sure, go ahead, Juanita.
Thank you. So Kara, was that throughout the district or were there specific schools where the PA system was an upgrade?
That was a specific school. There was a couple, there were some Bogan systems where they were able to just fix them and then one needed to be upgraded. So I'd have to go back and just double check with Mike and Rich which one it was that they actually replaced, because that's the one that PO speaks to, of
Thank you.
course.
Okay. Anybody else? I don't see any other hands. Okay. All right, moving on.
Second item on the agenda, Louisa, I believe you just wanted to speak about the budget, city council budget, the ad hoc meeting that we had on the 16th.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm so pleased with how everything went that night, and just congratulations to the team for presenting such a great budget. It was, I've heard nothing but positive feedback, even that night, but also after that evening on everything. So congratulations to all of you for a job well done. Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you to the board members and all my board members that showed up that night. I mean, even though we can't speak, our presence is important because it's supporting our budget, it's supporting our superintendent, it's supporting our district. So, and that was noted too. People, they we're all there. So appreciate all of you. Thank you. Go ahead, Kara. I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, I absolutely appreciated the support. It is a good feeling to know that sitting behind me and Mike in that were our board members in support, who were there even just to, nod their head and offer that acknowledgement. It was felt by everyone. And I just think it represents a new era, and I was happy during the board presentations with the budget, with the questions and the thoughtfulness, and then even more so with just the show of support. It means a lot.
Awesome. Thank you. Does anybody else have anything to say? I know there was a few of us that were there. Comments about the evening or anything you want to add? No? Okay, we move on.
If it's okay, I just wanted to give a quick update. We are currently underway with the fiscal year 25 financial audit. Just a little bit of background there. So the city produces an annual report. We call it the CAFR, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. And in that, the school rolls up into that. So the whole audit is an audit of the city's CAFR, but we are a big portion of that. We kicked that off a while ago. There are, I would say, 3 or 4 segments of that. There's the state and federal single audit, which looks at our state and federal grant funding. Those are tested pretty heavily. And then in addition, the regular financial statements are broken down kind of into 2 sections. The first part is the field work. The first part is the planning part. That's when the auditors will come and ask for a lot of documentations about policies and procedures. They'll ask me to walk them through the accounts payable procedures, the payroll procedures, bank reconciliations, all things of that nature. And then they will move on to the field work, which is where they start asking for things. They'll ask for payroll registers, the union contracts, things of that nature. Angela has been doing a phenomenal job fulfilling most of those requests. We're probably about halfway through the audit. I don't know the exact end date as of yet. They are testing more heavily now than they ever have before. So we are relying on our partners at CLA, Clifton Larson Allen, to provide some additional audit support, as well as just maintaining a very close contact with the city. That being said, we have a standing meeting every week with the audit team, who is at RSM, and that is the city joins us on that, and we go through the open items list, and they'll assign priorities, and kind of clarify just in case we have any questions. Some of the stuff is kind of confusing, so if we have any questions, we can ask them. And then we roll out of that meeting right into another meeting with CLA. And CLA, for those of you who don't know, they're an audit or accounting firm as well. I guess the competitors of RSM, you can say. But the city retained them to act as kind of our big brother and kind of help us out with some of the more difficult things. So we have a meeting with them as well once per week with the city, Angela, myself, and Juanita to go over if we need any help with anything or we don't understand anything. And that's kind of what has been helping push all of these audits through in such a short period of time. We've been in perpetual audit season since I've been here, but I think we've gotten three done in the 2 years. So we are marching along. I don't have an end date, unfortunately, but we are marching along, and it's looking promising so far. Nothing surprising so far.
Any questions? Board members, committee members?
Normal, you say we're catching up. Will you be able to breathe in a year or two?
Yeah, I think it'll be much less than that. The idea was to get this audit done, and then roll into the 2026 audit, and that one would be started and finished on time. So we'll be on a regular audit schedule after this fiscal year 25 audit. We go through a tremendous amount of audits on top of this. This year, we were audited by Medicaid for our special education program. We get workers' comp audits. We get union benefit audits. I mean, we're constantly facing one audit or another. But as far as the big financial one, after this one is done, we should be in a regular cycle. I think you're muted, John.
Anybody else with any questions? No? Okay.
Juanita, I did get an update on the Bogan system, and that the upgrade was for Danbury High School.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was quick. The last item we have on here, a while back in 24, they have introduced legislation that allows the districts to keep up to, but not over 2% of the prior year's budget should they have a surplus. And no surprise to anybody, we have had a surplus in the last few years. And so the way that most people are handling it is they're opening up a separate account, a separate bank account. I've already gone through the finance committee and board a while ago to open up that account. So there is currently an account at Union Savings Bank sitting unfunded, and it is waiting for the transfer of this 2%. In order for that to happen, the board has to make a motion and approve me actually moving those funds from the account that they're sitting in now to this 2% account. So in an effort to get this in front of the board as a whole, we put this on the agenda for a motion for the committee to move it forward to the full board.
Perfect thing. And this will take care of which years are we talking about?
It would be, so it would start in 24, but it's of the previous year's budget. So
Okay.
it would be 3 years.
3 years worth?
3 years worth, yes. And those are the numbers that we saw in the budget presentation.
Okay. Any questions on this before we move?
If there aren't any questions, I just wanted to mention one more thing. When we opened that account, we created a policy, a board policy for the use of that fund, those funds. So it's not a fund that Kara and I can dip into to cover operating expenses. All expenses have to be approved by the board before we actually use them. And there'll be tight controls and reporting around the balances in there, the purchase orders that are going against those. So just wanted to mention that as well.
Do we have a dollar amount on that goes in front of the board, or is that any amount?
Any amount.
Any amount, okay.
What I would do, Louisa, is I wouldn't bother the committee with $50 here and there. I would probably save them up and then
Right.
do it all at once in kind of a summary format.
Okay, understood. Any questions on this before we move it? Kate, did you have a question?
I guess I had a couple questions. I just want to make sure I understand correctly. So we're looking at transferring funds for 23, 24, 24, 25, 25, 26, correct?
It starts in 24, but the 24 number is 2% of the 23 budget.
23, 24 budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you very much. And then my other question is, and apologize, I'm trying to pull up the policy online, but it's just not it's not pulling up for me. Sorry, let me see if I pull it up the other way here. There it is. Okay. We don't have specific parameters on what those funds could be used for, but I guess what I would like to get a sense of is, since they're one-time funds, right? These are overage funds from year to year. What do you foresee as the best way to use these funds? And is the intention to kind of keep them as a rainy day until like we come into that situation? I'm just sort of looking for some sense of what the administration is.
Yeah, the only thing I would caution against using it for, because it is a one-time funding source, is any recurring expenses. So I don't think that we should enter into anything recurring with a one-time funding stream. That's kind of how we wound up in many of these cliffs and mini cliffs that we're in now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and we, don't forget, we have a separate fund for healthcare. So that is something separate. So if we were to have a high claim year and needed to dip in, that's exactly what that is for. If we have any kind of emergencies across the year, I think I've said it a couple of times, we are budgeting kind of on a razor's edge for next year, but yet still trying to continue to recruit, but being realistic in our approach about our ability to fulfill everything, that we want to do. So, if we do come closer, we go over, that is there as a backup, but we're going to try to, be as conservative as possible and monitor very tightly across each month so that we don't have to. So if that means we have to put little spending freezes in place from time to time, to do what we need to do to balance, that's what we'll do. But should we need it, we'd come back to the board and we would have that discussion, and then that's what it would be there for. But I would, much rather leave it there for a true rainy day emergency type situation. And we could be heading into that, or not. You never know what depending on how things go with financing in the next couple of years with the state and the title grants. So the more that we don't have to touch it, the better.
Okay. So we're looking at maybe expenses like capital expenses, unexpected capital expenses if we have an issue or something similar.
That would be most likely. But as Mike said, anything that's not reoccurring, and that is needed and critical, can't do without, and we run short in other places, then yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Any other questions? Anybody? No? Okay. Can I have someone make the motion for us, please?
I'll make a motion that the Finance Committee recommend the Board of Education to approve the transfer of funds from prior year's excess not to exceed 2% of the district's non-lapsing account.
Motion made by Kate. Do I hear a second? Second by Sean. Thank you, Sean. Seconded by Sean. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion passes. So that will get moved to the full board for the next meeting? Try to get that in there. Okay, awesome.
Do you
Have-
want a motion also for the finance report, the March finance report?
Yes, yes. Do you want to make that motion, Kate?
Sure. I'll make a motion that the finance committee recommend the March 2026 finance report to the full board for approval.
Thank you. Motion made by Kate. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Sherry. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. Thank you for that, Kate. That should probably be a standing motion on all of our agendas, I would think. So we should just probably
Do
add
that.
that. Yeah,
Mhm.
yep. Perfect. Okay, do we have anything else for tonight? Anything anybody wants to add? Questions, concerns about anything else? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Motion made by Kate. Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Cindy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.